February 18th, 2026. TMZ's inbox just received another ransom demand for an 84-year-old woman who has now been missing for 18 days. And this one is different. This one is darker. This one has the FBI on high alert in ways the first demand never did. Her name is Nancy Guthrie. She is the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. She was last seen at her home in Tucson, Arizona on January 31st. No goodbye. No warning. No trace. Just gone. And now, 3 weeks into this nightmare, whoever took her has just sent TMZ a ransom demand so graphic, so detailed, so chilling, that TMZ's own team called it unlike anything they had seen before in this case. Let that sink in. The people who cover Hollywood's darkest stories every single day said this one stopped them cold. So, what exactly is in this new demand? What does it say? Why is the FBI treating it differently than every other note that came before it? And why does the fact that it was sent to a media outlet and not to the family change absolutely everything about this case? Stay with me because every single layer of this story gets worse. Nancy Guthrie is 84 years old. She lives alone in Tucson, Arizona. She is not a celebrity. She is not a public figure. She is a grandmother. She is the kind of woman neighbors wave to in the morning. The kind of woman who has grandchildren calling her on weekends. But on January 31st, 2026, someone walked into her world and ripped her out of it. Investigators believe she was taken against her will. There were signs of a struggle. This was not a voluntary disappearance. This was a kidnapping. A calculated, premeditated kidnapping of an 84-year-old woman. Within days, the first ransom note arrived. It went to TMZ. It went to 2 Tucson TV stations, and it demanded millions of dollars in Bitcoin. Specifically, the demand was in the range of $6 million. $6 million for an 84-year-old grandmother. The note included a real Bitcoin wallet address, a deadline, and instructions. TMZ verified the wallet was active. The deadlines were set for February 5th and February 9th. Both deadlines passed. No payment was publicly confirmed. No proof of life was provided. The family asked for proof that Nancy was still alive. Nothing came back. Think about that. 2 deadlines, both passed. And whoever is holding Nancy Guthrie just kept moving. Then things got strange in a way that nobody expected. A separate set of emails started hitting TMZ's inbox. Not from the kidnappers, but from someone claiming to know who did it. Someone claiming to have the identity of the kidnapper, willing to sell that information to the FBI and choosing TMZ as the middleman. 4 emails, each one escalating. The first demanded 1 Bitcoin, about $65,000 for the kidnapper's name. The second added more specifics. The third one opened by addressing the FBI directly, writing that they don't trust you and you don't trust me, so I'm going through TMZ. That line alone should alarm you. This person is watching the media coverage so closely that they have decided a celebrity gossip outlet is more trustworthy than the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The fourth email pushed harder. Demanded $100,000, matching the FBI's own reward offer. The language used the phrase, the main individual, suggesting for the very first time that more than one person may have been involved in taking Nancy Guthrie. More than one. An 84-year-old woman, a grandmother, and possibly a team of people coordinated to abduct her. But none of that prepared anyone for what arrived on February 18th. The new ransom demand that TMZ received on February 18th is being described as highly sophisticated. That phrase matters. Phrase, highly sophisticated does not mean it is just longer or more emotional. It means whoever wrote this note understands systems, understands tracking, understands how to move money in ways that are harder to trace. Because here is the first major shift. This new demand does not ask for Bitcoin. It asks for a different cryptocurrency, a completely different one, with a brand new wallet address, which means whoever sent this is not relying on the same infrastructure as the first node. They changed the system. They anticipated that the first address was being watched, traced, monitored. So they moved to something new. That is not something a panicked opportunist does. That is something someone does when they have been planning, when they have been watching, when they understand that law enforcement and blockchain analysts have been tracking every movement on the original wallet. The dollar amount is similar, still in the range of $6 million. But now there is something else in the email that was not in the first one. TMZ's report says the email graphically describes the consequences if the ransom is not paid. Graphically. They use that word deliberately. They did not say vaguely suggests. They did not say implies. They said graphically describes. That means whoever sent this email put into writing, in explicit detail, what they intend to do to Nancy Guthrie if the money does not come. TMZ has not published those details. The FBI now has them. And law enforcement is treating this as an active threat. There is another dimension to this new note that TMZ's own Charles Latibaudiere called bizarre and complex. The media is now directly written into the demand. The new email reportedly ties media coverage of the case to a trigger in the payment conditions, meaning the person or people who sent this are watching every headline, every broadcast, every social media post about Nancy Guthrie, and they have connected that coverage to how and when they expect to be paid. They are not hiding from the spotlight. They are using it. They are weaponizing public attention as part of their strategy. Latibaudiere said, and these are nearly his exact words, that this is a very elaborate demand that involves the media, directly involves the media. He said it is a very bizarre and complex caper they have sort of created. He said when he looked at it, it stopped him. That is a man who works in breaking news every single day. A man who has covered overdoses and scandals and death and Hollywood's ugliest moments for years. And this email stopped him. That is the level of what we are dealing with right now. Meanwhile, the investigation on the ground in Tucson and beyond has been moving fast, but hitting walls. The DNA from a pair of gloves found 2 miles from Nancy's home was submitted to the National CODIS database. No match. The DNA found at the property itself is still being analyzed. Further testing is underway. They are pursuing genealogical testing, the same kind of forensic genealogy used to catch the Golden State Killer, to try to identify a suspect from the DNA alone. But that takes time. And every day that passes is another day that Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, is somewhere unknown. The FBI has expanded the search beyond Arizona. As of the most recent updates, the FBI has now contacted Mexican federal law enforcement. They have reached out to various agencies in Mexico to spread awareness of the case. Investigators believe it is possible, not confirmed, but possible that Nancy was moved across the border at some point after the kidnapping. Border Patrol cameras and electronic surveillance checked at the time of her disappearance came up empty. But as law enforcement acknowledged, there are ways to cross the border without triggering surveillance systems. There are routes, there are gaps. And if Nancy was not taken across immediately, she could have been moved later, after attention had shifted. The Pima County Sheriff has confirmed that no members of Nancy Guthrie's family are suspects. They have been cleared. This is not a domestic case. This is an outside actor or actors who targeted this woman specifically. A woman who happens to be the mother of one of the most recognizable television hosts in America. Investigators have identified the backpack the suspect was wearing in surveillance footage as a Walmart exclusive item. They are working directly with Walmart to trace where and when that backpack was purchased, trying to build a profile on whoever took her. The suspect is described as between 5'9" and 5'10", average build. That is all they have right now in terms of physical description. No name, no face confirmed. Just a backpack and a height and a set of ransom emails that keep arriving at TMZ like clockwork. Now here's what nobody wants to say out loud, but everyone is thinking. The previous deadlines came and went. February 5th passed. February 9th passed. No confirmed payment, no confirmed proof of life. And yet new demands keep arriving, new emails keep coming, which means one of two things is happening. Either the person or people holding Nancy Guthrie are keeping her alive as leverage, knowing that a dead hostage has no value, and they are continuing to push because they believe someone will eventually pay. Or the new emails are coming from a different party entirely, someone unconnected or loosely connected to the original kidnapping, who is exploiting the chaos and the public attention to run a parallel con alongside the actual crime. TMZ's own team has noted that the writing style across the various emails, the ransom notes, and the tip seller emails sounds like exactly the same person. If that is true, then what we have is one individual orchestrating multiple simultaneous schemes. The kidnapping, the ransom, the offer to sell information about the kidnapper, possibly about themselves. A person playing multiple roles in the same crime, creating confusion, creating chaos, using the media as a stage and as a leverage point. The FBI reward stands at $100,000 for information leading to Nancy's recovery or the arrest and conviction of anyone involved. That number has been out there for weeks, and still nothing solid has come back. This new note changes the pressure. Because now the FBI is not just chasing leads in Arizona and coordinating with Mexico. Now they have a new crypto address to trace, new language to analyze, new forensic linguistics experts picking apart every single word for patterns, for errors, for anything that reveals who wrote it. Because people who think they're being clever with cryptocurrency still make mistakes. They still use phrases they use in real life. They still structure sentences in identifiable ways. And that kind of analysis, the kind that cracks cases open from a single email, is exactly what is happening right now in federal offices. Nancy Guthrie has been missing for 18 days as of this report. She is 84 years old. She has a daughter who wakes up every morning and sits in front of a camera on national television to do her job while not knowing where her mother is. That is the human weight underneath all of these ransom notes and crypto addresses and FBI coordinations. Someone took her. Someone has been sending graphic demands about what happens if they are not paid. And right now, the only confirmed thing is that the FBI has the newest note, the investigation is wider than it has ever been, and whoever is responsible for this is still out there, still watching, and still escalating. The question is whether law enforcement can move faster than the next deadline, and whether Nancy Guthrie is still alive to see it happen.